Hello and welcome back to Capitol Hill Ocean Talk on oceanslive.org. I'm your host, Kate Thompson with NOAA's Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, coming to you live from the museum in Washington, D.C. on the final day of Capitol Hill Ocean Week 2014. Throughout the week, we've brought you behind-the-scenes conversations with some of the most influential ocean leaders here at CHOW. We have such an exciting lineup of guests for the day, including a virtual visit later today with Fabienne Cousteau, who's currently living 60 feet underwater in the Aquarius Reef Base for the entire month of June. But before we get to that, let's go to this morning's discussion. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, including the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Gordon and Betty Mount Moore Foundation, the Western Pacific Regional Fishery Management Council, Pacific Life, and the Campbell Foundation. Now with me in the studio to talk about marine science, one of my favorite topics, marine science education that is a wonderful group of guests, starting with Louisa Koch, NOAA's Director of Education. I'm also joined by Jillian Worssam, a NOAA teacher at sea from Sinawa Middle School in Flagstaff, Arizona. Maya Walton, a Knauss Marine Policy Fellow at NOAA's Office of National Marine Sanctuaries. And we also have Nyssa Silbiger, a PhD student at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, who is also one of our Dr. Nancy Foster Scholars. And last but not least, we have NOAA Chesnin, a former Canals Legislative Fellow. Thanks everyone so much for being part of the panel today and to talk about marine science education. So anyway, Louisa, I want to start it out with you. So part of NOAA's education mission is to inspire and prepare more people for marine science and policy. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the ways that NOAA works to educate the next generation or workforce?
So one of the best ways we have about educating the future NOAA workforce is actually bringing them into and having them understand the NOAA science. And for marine and marine policy issues, bringing them to a national marine sanctuary or a national estuarine research reserve, actually bringing them to the ocean so that they can experience it for themselves is one of the best ways. The ocean is absolutely an enchanting force on us.
Well, as part of that, you said bringing people places. I know that NOAA has amazing scholarship and fellowship programs. Why is it so why are these programs there and why do they benefit the agency?
So it's so important for us to be helping bring the young people into our research and exposing them to NOAA science and getting them involved in the work that we do so that they can see how important it is and so we can give them a chance to actually try it out.
Well, science. STEM and technology and engineering and math is such a big deal right now. You hear it in the news, you hear the president talk about it. Why is this so important for NOAA to be engaged in STEM and to doing these things?
So there are lots of fabulous teachers who want to be able to teach about our oceans, and NOAA has science that can support them and help give them the resources that they need in order to do that. There's lots of aquariums and science centers, and they also need support from experts in ocean and atmospheric science in order to be able to do that job well, and NOAA can provide those tools and resources and expertise to help that out. Well,
you mentioned teachers as being one of our big links. We actually have a teacher with us in the studio, Jillian Worssam. So Jillian, you are a ex-NOAA teacher at sea. What does that mean?
It is. I am. 10 years ago this July, I was in the Bering Sea for a month on the Miller Freeman, a research vessel studying pollock and pollock populations. And I'm a teacher from Arizona, so very fortunate to be able to bring ocean science from the field into the classroom to show students how important it is to understand our global ecosystems.
So Arizona, landlocked, dry, desert. So ocean doesn't seem like something that kids would really want to learn about or could learn about, but that must have been so exciting for them to see you out and do that. How did it inspire them?
It's a wonderful experience, and it inspires them to see that there are research careers, there's fields out there in STEM science that anybody can get engaged in. Our future marine biologists, our future chemical oceanographers don't necessarily come from the coastal areas. They come from throughout the United States, and it's really important that we make sure that all citizens understand the importance of our ocean ecosystems, especially in climate and especially on the health of this planet. And the NOAA Teacher at Sea program allows teachers like myself to experience this firsthand and then to bring that excitement back to our students.
Well, I know in a lot of the curriculum that of past, a lot of the states hadn't addressed oceans as a topic within curriculums, and I honor you for doing that, especially being from Arizona. But I think one of the big things I want to know is why is it so important to engage young people in marine science?
Because marine science, the ocean ecosystem is what fuels our planet. It's what keeps us warm, it gives us our weather, billion-dollar fish industries for food, for health. We need to be aware of this, that if I have a student who is polluting a water source in Arizona, where does that go? How does it end up in the ocean? How does that in turn affect our lives in Arizona? And everybody loves polar bears, everybody loves whales. It's a great hook in to show students that there is a breadth of knowledge, of science, of technology, of engineering. My students build underwater robots. My students write books on benthic ecology. It's through the TASS program that has allowed me to get excited about this and then share this knowledge with my students, who in turn get excited and then hopefully in turn become amazing active participants in our future society.
Well, I think it was very forward-thinking of NOAA to think of the research vessels, and I think it's teacher at sea, teacher in the air, teacher in the lab, because NOAA has such a breadth of really cool things that teachers can get engaged in. So what specifically from that experience did you take back to the classroom to say, you guys could be the next NOAA researchers or NOAA scientists or NOAA weathermen? How did you do that?
Thank you so much for asking, because I started developing 10 years ago a program called Scientists in the Classroom. I even have my own little swag, bumper stickers, magnets, all sorts of stuff. I have students that are mentored with scientists in the field one-on-one for an entire academic year. The scientists work with the students minimum 2 emails a month. They have a series of projects where the students learn everything from the technology of developing a digital voice recording to making movies, climate games. They have to make a book on climate change. They make climate movies, and they learn about this science. I have mentors from Russia, New Zealand, Norway, Seattle, Alaska, Washington. I think over 15 U.S. states are now involved in this mentor program. I would love for it to be a national model, because education is about education, not about a book. And NOAA started me on this journey 10 years ago, and now I have an amazing network of professionals in the field who work with students in Arizona. Like yesterday, it was wonderful to see a dean from University of Alaska Fairbanks here, when 3 of his staff are my mentors in Arizona. That, to me, is what education is and should be.
That's perfect. We talked earlier with Louisa about K to grave and educating people about the marine world and the ocean and the importance of it. We actually have 2 wonderful scholars and fellows that are with us today. So you're in the midst of that spectrum of people that NOAA work with. So Maya, you're one of the many Canals Fellows who have worked in NOAA's Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, and then also across NOAA. So what exactly is the Canals Fellowship?
So the Canals Fellowship is a really unique educational experience for graduate students that are interested in national policy decisions that are connected to ocean, coastal, and Great Lakes resources. And this is a 1-year paid fellowship that's hosted by both executive and legislative host offices right here in Washington, D.C.
What made you decide to apply for such a prestigious program?
Yeah, so there's so many unique aspects to the Knauss Fellowship, but there's 2 aspects that really stand out for me. The first is you're getting firsthand experience at decision-making at a national level. So this is really experience that you can gain here in Washington, D.C. and nowhere else in the country. And the second aspect that's really exciting for me is it's really an educational experience. So not only do you get firsthand experience in your host office, but you have all these opportunities to attend congressional hearings, to have professional development training, and to also connect with Knauss alumni and other professionals and leaders in the marine community.
Well, great sitting alongside of you. We also have a Nancy Foster Scholar with us in the studio, Nyssa Silbiger. Nyssa, I think one of our favorite programs within National Marine Sanctuaries is the Nancy Foster Scholarship Program. So can you tell us what the Nancy Foster Scholarship Program is and how it works?
Absolutely. The Nancy Foster Scholarship Program is a wonderful program that's hosted by the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries. And it is a program that is specific for graduate students to conduct research within one of our 14 National Marine Sanctuaries, applied, place-based, hands-on research. But Kate, it's so much more than a research program. It is a program that creates ambassadors for the National Marine Sanctuaries and also for the oceans in general. And the way that we do this is through trainings and orientations at specific sanctuaries, where we learn about education and outreach and marine policy and networking.
So what kind of research have you been doing for the scholarship?
I've actually gotten the opportunity to do a bunch of different research projects with the scholarship, but my dissertation research is specific to looking at climate change and how it's impacting the balance between coral reef growth and natural coral reef breakdown. A lot of people don't really know that there's all these little tiny critters that live within the tiny cracks and crevices of the reef, of the coral reef, and they actually break down the reef. And one of the concerns is that with ocean acidification, there may be a shift to more breakdown rather than growth. And I'm doing this research in Papahanaumakuakea Marine National Monument and the Hawaii Islands Humpback Marine Sanctuary and unmanaged sites within the main Hawaiian Islands. But in addition to that, we also do program collaborations at other sanctuaries. So just a week ago, I was in Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary working alongside Dr. Steve Lonhart, and we were looking at how this big sea star wasting syndrome is actually affecting the spread of an invasive species throughout the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
I have to say, so cool.
It's really cool.
Kure Atoll to Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
From wetsuits to dry suits, all the way around.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. Very cool. I'm jealous. So anyway, thanks so much, Nyssa, for telling us a little bit about the Nancy Foster Scholarship Program.
Absolutely.
But another cool thing is we also have NOAA with us today, and you are a former Knauss Policy Fellow. And I just want to, what impact has that experience in the program had on your career?
It's been a tremendous impact. First, I guess I didn't get a chance to wear wetsuits and dry suits. I was wearing wool and cotton suits here in DC for a year, and had the chance to see in a very intense but really enriching view of what the sort of DC ecosystem, how it works, who's involved, who needs to be involved, how decisions are made, how funding for the agency, for the states, plays out in sort of the national arena. And I knew that this was something I was very interested in, but the fellowship gave me that chance to sort of be thrown right into the center of that debate, learn from experts, work with experts, and try to help advance ocean science and conservation nationally. And that gave me the vantage of finding positions outside of DC that sort of played on those issues. So I had the opportunity to work with people here in DC then as they were looking for positions, pursue them as I applied. So I knew that I wanted to translate the science and policy work into more outreach and education. And so I'm working now for the Wildlife Conservation Society in New York, out of the New York Aquarium, translating the policy work that I learned about here in DC to help reach people as they come to the aquarium in Coney Island.
So it sounds like NOAA provides a complete holistic approach when it comes to learning about the research and science, how it's applied, hands-on activities, all the way through to the policy and how policy is made and how it changes things for our ocean. Right. So the Sea Grant Fellowship Program has made such a big impact on DC overall. I mean, I think over 1,000 Canals Fellows are out there. So from your perspective, working on the Hill at that one point, what is the value of NOAA's role in managing programs like these?
I think those kinds of programs are critical to grow the new crop of leaders. When you have 1,000 people that have had a shared experience, as an alum now, there are people around the country that are working on these issues. And so NOAA has cultivated people that understand the science, that come understanding the science, but then learn about the policy and can help bridge those disciplines to help support conservation and research. And that role of building new leaders is critical, that NOAA can help from early childhood education through aquariums and then through this fellowship program, sort of take people through their sort of educational programming to a new career in this really important field. Well,
I think it's all about hands-on. I think it's about places, it's about communities. and being engaged in what goes on and what NOAA does in research and in science. So thank you all so much for joining me today. So we are, speaking of great NOAA STEM program, Ocean Sampling Day is coming up on June 21st. It's sponsored in partnership with the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation and NOAA, and it's an international collaboration to collect water samples from the ocean and rivers around the world. Make sure you find out more about it at oceanexplorer.noaa.gov. Coming up at noon today, do not miss our special guest appearance with Fabian Cousteau, who's joining us via Skype from the Aquarius Reef Base in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. Fabian is spending an entire month underwater in his quest to break the record held by his grandfather, Jacques Cousteau. And I think that's STEM right there, living under the ocean, trying to get the message out about how it needs to be protected. So make sure you stay tuned for more great discussions from the final day of Chow, right here on oceanslive.org.